Hello. There's been a bit of trouble in MHC land in the last couple of days. I hate trouble, and I think that those of you who know me know that I'm one of the least argumentative of people. But I did get involved in an argument over whether someone had broken some rules, and I went away to think things over. It set me thinking about the MHC rules, and I actually think that this can all be handled really nicely with a bit of common sense, and we don't have to debate exactly over whether someone has broken the letter of rule number 14 or 25 or whatever it is. Before we look at the rules, I think we should stop and think about what the MHC is. And sort of, in a nutshell, I feel that it's this. The MHC is a bunch of people all playing the same challenge, putting up videos of their progress, and that's it. Of course, there's a lot of other things that spring from those bare facts, but basically we're all playing the same game to the same rules, and we're watching each other's progress with interest, and we're noticing the different way that we all tackle the problems and the different things that we get out of the situation. The crux is that we do have to be playing the same game for them to be truly comparable. Having looked at this over the last couple of days, I've become more convinced that we don't want to clarify the rule wording until it's perfect. That would need the lawyers coming in, and we would end up with a 30-page rule book, and players being charged with violating Rule 27, subsection 2. I think that's directly the opposite direction to where we should be going. I think if we look at the rules and understand why they are there, then we can apply our own common sense. So why are the rules there? Right, well, some of these rules are there to keep us all playing the same game. We all have to be in hardcore mode, which sets the difficulty to hard as well. We all have to be playing vanilla Minecraft with no mods. We are allowed ones that don't affect the gameplay in any way. We all have to be playing the same Minecraft version, although we don't go crazy on this one and say it has to be 1.8.7 or something. It's any of the 1.8s at the moment is fine. The world as defined in the announcement has to be played, so the seed, the structures, the biome size all have to be as there. And all of those rules are just keeping us all playing an identical game to each other. Now, some of the rules are there to make the MHC a more challenging contest. So we're not allowed to sleep in beds, we have to play in hardcore mode, we mustn't kill passive mobs or eat their meat. But on the other side, we've got a rule that says if we happen to die really early on, before we've put out any videos, then we're not out, we can restart. Some of the rules are there to stop players from breaking the other rules, either accidentally or on purpose. So we're not allowed to use any mods that change the gameplay of Minecraft. We have to do everything on camera. We're not allowed to do certain things AFK. I actually think that one is really a variation of the all on camera rule. It's not really about being away from your keyboard, it's about whether you show everything that you're doing in your game. We want to have minimal prior knowledge of the world. And there's been all kinds of different wordings of that one, but basically that's what we're about. We don't want people knowing in advance exactly what's going to come up in their world, where all the ores are, where the animals are. It's like a new adventure every time. And then we don't want people loading up save copies, and I think the reasoning that Fellonius put down for that one was that people will play in a different way if they know that they've got the safety net of being able to restore if things don't go their way. It doesn't have to be as clear-cut as dying. It could be if they don't get the luck they want, then they can just go back to the backup and play again. I think that was where Fellonius was coming from when he said that one. But I won't say any more about that. There are some other rules that are there to control the videos, just to keep everyone producing something in the same way that's all as watchable as each other. The brightness at 100%, the fact that videos have to be at normal speed, that we run our games from sunup to sunup, and we put the videos up basically around Mondays and Fridays through the month. There's also the rule that Michael recently introduced about no interplayer violence or suicide being allowed. That's just a personal preference of his about not wanting to see these kind of things in the videos in his competition, I believe. In the MHCs, we've very often seen that not everybody is keeping precisely to the rules. It's never going to happen that we're all keeping precisely to it. It's usually a complete accident. I mean, this very month, just so soon after we've been trying to tighten up the rule definitions, it's ironic that we've got someone playing the wrong seed, we've got someone playing with structures on instead of off, we've got, I think, probably some players who are not playing in hardcore mode, we've got people who are playing on servers, and somebody who, because it didn't work out, they're starting afresh on a server from day one, and found they still had their inventory on them and threw it away to make amends. We've got some other players who, looking at the videos, I suspect that they may not be on hard difficulty, but you can't really tell. Mistakes do happen. They're bound to. Since I've been watching and playing MHCs, quite a number of people have made mistakes, and a number of people have had technical problems which have ruined some part of their videos. We've seen, for example, some people who inadvertently break the special rules of a month, like placing torches or blocks outside of the zero chunk in March 2015, or in most months we've had people accidentally killing a passive mob. These are usually coped with sensibly by throwing away the unintended meat or removing the violating torches as soon as possible. Where people, including myself, have lost video, we've presented our audio along with pictures or drawings, and we've always done this to a very sympathetic audience of players who have had the same thing happen to them. Many times players have lost or corrupted their audio, and they've found creative ways to present their video. They've either put music on or text captions, or they've gone back and done post-commentary. We're an audience composed of video makers, so we very much appreciate the effort that goes into replacing a lost audio track. Sympathetic to the max. So when I got embroiled in a frustrating little argument a couple of days ago, it was because someone, a new player, not an experienced MHC player, reacted to the loss of their footage and audio by deciding to replay most of the month over again. And I managed to bring the whole thing up to boiling point by calling this second run through unofficial. And the use of this word seems to have had a very bad effect. It was like I was badging them as being a cheat and calling for their banishment henceforth from all competition. That certainly wasn't my intention. This brings me on to what we do with players who break the rules. Nobody gets banned. It's just that you can't compare people's games with each other's when they're playing different games. Michael has said more than once over the months that I've been involved in MHC that he's not looking for reasons to ban anyone. He's also said that he can't stop anyone from putting what videos they want up on their channel. I think the first one is a good idea. I suppose there might be some extreme circumstance where you might want to ban someone, but I think it would have to be something so extreme. It would have to be someone who was actively trying to destroy your competition. It's just never going to happen. So I don't want to see anyone banned either. Never, never. The second one is also true, but I think it somehow misses the point. You can't control what people do on their channel, but you can decide how each video applies to your own competition. You could, for example, say that somebody is not actually playing the MHC because they're playing a different world and aiming for a different objective. I mean, suppose someone in this latest one started an entire world in a desert and decided not to do anything to do with dogs. They could call it the MHC for November, but it wouldn't be. But most of the things are much more minor differences between the game that's being played and the game that was defined in the announcement video. I think probably you just want to mention that something is different. If someone is playing on a different difficulty or seed or structures, you should just note it in passing. Then everyone would know that this game is not precisely what was defined, and they can make their own interpretation of what they're watching. I used the term unofficial, which I didn't think was too inflammatory a term, but it provoked quite an emotional response. Certainly not what I was intending at all. I just meant that official meant a game being played 100% to the rules and the setup as defined. So any game that would differ from that would be unofficial, but no less watchable. After all, there are no real winning conditions. There are no prizes. Again, Michael said this several times before. No one is going to get rich by being the winner of MHC. As a summary, my feelings on the MHC rules are that we shouldn't get hung up on the precise wording of anything, but we should understand why the rules are there and what they're trying to achieve. That way we can make amends appropriately if any of us break them. Also, there are no punishments or sanctions for anyone who breaks these rules. All I ask is that we point out any differences in people's games so that we can bear these in mind when we watch. I know that I will always keep in mind this person is playing the actual MHC that Michael defined and this person is playing on easy level. So if ever I say official or unofficial in the future, it just means 100% to the rules and less than 100% to the rules. Thank you for listening to my somewhat rambling reasoning. I hope it makes some sense, and I hope some of you will add your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.